I'm going to show you today how I save my tubers over winter. So I got sunchoke tubers right here, but I do this same thing for other tubers too. And then I got my potting soil and topsoil mix. And then I'm using the cement tub right here. It's just a regular standard size cement tub, not the bigger one. So all I do is take my soil from here, layer at the bottom, and then add a layer of tubers, and then do the same thing and repeat all the way to the brim of the cement tub. So let's take a look. So I got a hole in the bottom of my cement tub, so I just put a piece of cardboard over it. And I already mixed some tubers into here just to save it for the time being, so I'll make sure I get those. I got a thin layer of my topsoil mix right here. So what I'm going to do is just spread it out evenly so it covers across the bottom. Oh no, I already started getting one tuber that rot in here. So to avoid that, I'm going to make sure to take that out. I need to lightly moisturize the soil here, otherwise it's just going to dry my tubers out. And that's exactly what I'm trying to prevent by doing this. One layer down, and I am doing this in my garage. I'm going to leave it on top of this workbench right here. Not going to move it anywhere else. It's going to stay here over winter. And I'll notice as weeks go by that these tubers will start to germinate. Then it gets a little warmer. And since the garage stays about around 45-50 degrees or so for the most part over the winter, it will do just fine. As long as it doesn't drop below consistently 40 in the garage, the soil is a good insulator. So it'll make sure that it preserves the tubers. So even if it drops to like 30s one day for a little bit of time, it'll still save the tubers from rotting. The other option is you can always leave it in ground. But the downside to that is if there's a lot of rain in your area, or if there's a lot of snow, and if snow melts, and if it gets waterlogged, then you risk losing all your tubers to rotting. So root rot will extend into your tubers, and you may lose all your tubers if that happens. So this is just what I do to prevent that. We do get rain once in a while in Oklahoma during the winter, and it might get pretty bad. We do have snow here once in a while too. Not all throughout winter, but we do get snow days. And I just don't want to risk losing all my tubers to root rot. So I got my tubers all spread out in one thin layer right here. I'm going to show you from a different angle. So this is what I got right now. Got all my tubers spread all the way across the cement tub. And now I'm going to go ahead and layer it with another fine layer of soil. So I'm just going to go ahead and push it across. See, I got like a small little tuber. Got another one here. Push that across. Got a couple in here. So these are all my planting tubers that I save over winter. Okay. A few that are popping up. I just want to make sure they remain submerged in soil. And I lightly moisten the soil afterwards. But there we go. It should be just about good enough for now. Okay, I'm going to put the rest of the soil in, and it's definitely not enough to cover the whole thing. So I'm going to get another bag of topsoil, and topsoil is not that expensive. I think it's about like $3 to $4 a bag. But if you want, you can also mix a little bit of potting soil into it. That way it just makes it easier when you come around to planting. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and open up another bag of topsoil and just layer it up. But before I do that, I'll gently moisten the top layer of soil. So I got a little kitchen pitcher here with some water. I'm just going to gently go over the top. And if you have a spray bottle or something, that'll do just fine. Just don't overdo it. But since I do have a decently thick layer of soil, I'm just going to go ahead over the top, just lightly water it across the top here. And this is just to make sure that the soil here isn't too dry and it's pulling out all the water from the tubers, which is exactly the opposite of what we want it to do. We want to make sure the soil keeps the tubers moist enough where they don't dry up, so they are ready for planting. So if you add too much water, it also will induce the rotting process, so you do not want that happening. So Timberline is the brand of topsoil that I use. It's nothing fancy, it's just what you get off the shelf from Home Depot, and it does the job just fine. I'm going to go ahead and spread it out to get an even layer. Probably going to need a little bit more, but the topsoil isn't absorbing all the water as well as I thought, but that's okay, because the organic matter in here will absorb that water. It'll retain the moisture. Just going to make sure the clumps are broken down a little bit. I will go ahead and put in more soil just because I need that insulation on top. And you might notice topsoil has chunks of wood chips and everything, so it's literally a mix of all kinds of different organic matter. So we are a small family homestead, dare I say a small family farm, based out of Oklahoma. And we do sell our tubers. So the tubers that I'm planting, or that I'm saving right now, some of these are for sale, and the others are for planting. We do have more that we save in a similar fashion, using cement tubs or like other larger containers. But this is just an example to show you how to save your tubers in the same technique that we do, overwintering them. So if you live in a cold place like we do, or if you have cold weather for a couple of months out of the year, and this is how you would want to save yours. Okay. And before I top it up all the way to the brim, I'm going to add a little bit more water just to make sure there's enough moisture in the mix here. That way my tubers have a chance overwinter. Remember, don't put too much, but you need just enough. As this organic matter, this topsoil here is quite dry, it doesn't have enough moisture to preserve the tubers as is. And what that will do is it'll take out the moisture from the tubers. And that's exactly the opposite of what we want it to do. We want it to help retain the moisture. Otherwise the tubers, if they're exposed to the air, they will naturally dehydrate. They're not good for planting anymore. If your cement tub is big enough, meaning if it's taller, you can definitely put in a few more layers, like another layer of two of tubers, and then kind of make a lasagna out of it. So that way it will preserve a lot more tubers. But my tub here is not that tall. It's just your standard, the small cement tub. So it doesn't take as much soil. So I just do one layer. I could do two, but then I risk losing some of my tubers to the weather, or perhaps even drying up if it's exposed. I'm going to put a little bit more just because I have some more in the bag. We're pretty much done. I just want to make sure it's layered up nice and tight all the way across. You don't want to compact it. That's not going to help. Just want to make sure it covers the tubers just enough. You want to make sure your tubers are at least like 2 to 3 inches in the soil for overwintering. Anything more, it might rot the tubers. This is exactly how you would want to do your preservation to ensure that your tubers survive the winter. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button to stay tuned for more planting techniques and other techniques that we use here at our homestead.